Hello everyone. Thank you for being here and coming to my channel. I hope that you are doing very well. And for those of you who have subscribed to my channel, thank you very much. And thank you for sticking with me. I know that it's been a while since I've put anything on the channel. So I wanted to just put a brief message out there real quickly and update you to why I've been so quiet on my channel. And I'm going to be looking at notes because I want to make sure I don't forget anything, and I don't want to ramble on like I have in other videos. So I hope that you'll bear with me on this. As you know, it's kind of hard to make videos when you're a YouTube creator, and so it takes a lot. And with this, the reason I have been a little behind on, well, has been a few months since I've posted anything. The biggest factor is because of the SPMS symptoms, and that, especially with the fatigue, low energy, and the cognitive function. It's made it harder for me to concentrate and to stay consistent. I am making efforts to improve my mobility strength. Since April, I have been working with certified MS physical therapist online, and that's focusing on the mobility challenges specific to multiple sclerosis. It does take time and it does take energy, and yeah, that does add to some of the symptoms of fatigue and the ability to concentrate. But the good news is that I have seen improvement. Even tiny ones matter. The physical challenges I have caused by SPMS didn't happen overnight, and so expecting instant results isn't realistic. Naturally, I would like things to go faster. I'd like to heal faster. I'd like to have progress a lot faster, but what really matters is being consistent in my efforts, and that does mean that there are days that I may not be able to do the exercise activity, but as I've been coached, keep going and keep as consistent as possible. This therapy is helping to retrain the neuropathways, getting the signals from the brain to the hip, the quad, the hamstrings, the knee, the ankle, the things that are needed to walk. And those are the areas that are weak in my particular condition, for my MS. I will share more details about the source that I'm learning from online, but I'll have to wait to pass that along so that others can benefit from it too. But I will do that. The effort is important. The effort is an important part of staying proactive in my own self-care. And it was interesting that after I had back pain and went to the doctor, it was severe. It was very, very painful. I also began having in-person physical therapy. And there's homework with that too. And I've been integrating that with what I've been more learning online. What was really encouraging to see was the overlap between the two approaches. It helps with consistency and targets the weak areas. When choosing physical activity, it really is important to work with trained professionals who understand your specific needs. That might include not overdoing it. One of the things that I had learned is that I was doing so much that I was actually creating a situation where I was becoming weaker. And so that's something that you need to make sure that you pay attention to. And I will be sharing more information of what I'm learning in future videos. Anyone who creates YouTube content knows that it does take a lot of time and energy. There's a lot of things that I can't do because I just have the phone camera to work with. And since I do have the limited mobility to be able to place the camera in one spot and walk to somewhere else and then go back and all the effort that others can do, it's not something that I can do at this time. But I am learning about things that I can do. So there might be a delay in what I'm doing with my channel, but I'm not giving up. And then a hard life event happened. What happened was that I was hit with unexpected technical issues with my computer. It was shutting down and going black. And so I got on the phone with HP SmartFriend. I do subscribe to that. And they were able to help me to get that resolved. But immediately after, literally hours later, I was hit by a serious cybersecurity breach. A fake computer support scam by individuals impersonating Microsoft. This forced a computer reset. They knew enough about what they were doing that I wasn't able to, on my own, be able to do a system restore. So that meant a total computer reset. And unfortunately, that meant losing some of the videos and documents that I had been working on. And sadly, everything that I had on CapCut and was in the process of editing and working with was completely lost. This cyber breach required many hours and several days of phone calls, filing reports, and taking steps to protect myself. And this caused a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety, which derailed a lot of the progress that I was making with managing my SPMS. Now, this is shared not to vent, but it's to bring awareness. I think that it's important because scam like this don't just mess with your tech, with your technology, with your computer. They also mess with your health, your energy, and your peace of mind. And that can take a lot out of you. I'll give you more details about what happened with the computer and the things that happened a little bit more involved than what I'm doing here. This threatened my identity, and there was a lot of process involved in correcting the corruption to my computer. I want to share that with you at another time and get more detail. If you have gone through this, I would appreciate you sharing what you have experienced, because it's very hard, and it's good for other people to know that they're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're not alone, and you're not powerless. There are things that can be done. There are a lot of things that I should have done and paid attention to. But as I said, I'll get into that at another time. One of the other things that I thought was important to talk about is something that we don't really hear a lot about. At least I haven't, and it's not something that a lot of people hear about. One of the things that happens is that there is an emotional toll with SPMS and chronic illness, for that matter. Depression is more common with those that have chronic illnesses than there are with other people. And it doesn't show up quite the way you expect. There's different things that happen. Some days, everything is totally okay. And other days, even something small like dropping an open container of yogurt on the floor and having it splatter everywhere can disrupt how you are going to be able to function the rest of the day. Unexpected changes in routine, a memory. These things can also bring on an unusual sadness and knock you off your feet. And that's something that really does have a lot to do with the amount of energy you might have. So it's something to be aware of. One of the things that I wanted to share was something that I hadn't really thought about, but it's true. There is grief that is involved, and applies to the loss of abilities, the loss of being able to have a regular routine, parts of your identity. Like, I enjoyed being a credit manager. I liked those activities. I enjoyed being an engineering assistant, and thinking and getting involved with things and having multiple things to do, multitasking even. I miss being able to do that. I miss even simple things, like keeping my home neat and tidy all the time. Uh, since my MS went progressive in 2020, there are daily reminders of what I'm not able to do anymore. And that is added to when it takes so much longer to accomplish things. That's involved with time and energy, and that's over and above day-to-day activities. And sometimes the day-to-day activities are a challenge to accomplish. One of the things I think that's important for people to know is that even though somebody can be very well-meaning, they make a comment, like, well, have you tried this? Well, I've heard that this will work. I've heard you should do that. Well, the thing is that when you hear those things, that can add to the disappointment that's felt inside. It's already disappointing not being able to do certain things. And if somebody says, well, you haven't done enough, through a comment like that, then that can add to the disappointment you feel. One of the things I was reminded is that healing doesn't necessarily mean recovery. With multiple sclerosis, there is no cure. So you're only going to have so much recovery, but when it becomes secondary progressive multiple sclerosis, there's only so much healing that can be done. So in that case, it means learning to live with the challenge, or live with the change. And it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a lot of times that's a whole lot easier said than done. You don't have to rush it. You need to just make sure to be consistent, like I am with the physical therapy. You don't have to pretend that it doesn't bother you or that it hurts. You don't have to say everything's okay when sometimes not everything is okay. One of the most important things that I wanted to make sure to share was something that was said, that was shared. I heard it. It says, sometimes the most resilient thing you can do is sit in the hard part and trust that your next small step forward will come when you're ready. So there are positive things that you can do, that you can think about, and that will help you get through. Just as in making small steps to improving mobility, it can be done little by little, step by step. And even though I haven't been posting, there has been a lot happening, and I have been learning more about YouTube creator things. Admittedly, I have to remember to turn on the camera. That's part of it. With things that are going on, there's a lot of things. Oh, I wish I would have had the video going, but it's still a learning process. Hopefully you will bear with me. I am still here. I am still venturing through my stationary RV, living in my little home and navigating with different abilities. With low income, I do love architecture and drafting and DIY solutions, and do want to share the things that I do that might be helpful to others. I am planning to design some small home plans. architecture is something I've loved ever since I was in my teen years and watched my uncle uh, and what he was doing. It's something that I want to share some of those ideas and those plans. I'll just be holding up some of my little sketches and things like that. But for now, I am making small improvements that help me to adapt and to thrive. One project, one step, and one sketch at a time. Thank you for sticking with me, and I really appreciate your support and you being here. I'm looking forward to sharing more soon. I am going to be sharing a shelf update that I've already videoed, just needs to do some editing. But in the meantime, I thank you again for being here, and I hope that you're doing really, really well and you're taking care of yourself.